to the podcast. We're alive today. The RV industry is in for a real shock. It's in for a real stunner. And nobody's prepared for it. And the reason why nobody is prepared for it, whether you're a consumer, a dealership, even on the manufacturing side, is because nobody can see what's really going on towards 2026. Let me explain. So first off, on the consumer side, I'm still getting comments and emails that sound something like, you can't afford an RV without telling me you can't afford an RV. But I'm finally seeing some stuff with some explanation of why they feel a certain way. What I mean by that is this. I get a comment or an email that says, I'm waiting for the market to crash because people are going to stop spending money in 2026, and dealers and manufacturers of all kinds of goods, not just RVs, but all kinds of goods, including household appliances, cars, they're all going to majorly discount everything to where we can practically steal it. That's never going to happen unless a company goes out of business. Let me rephrase that. Let me re-say that again, but this time in a different way. Unless a company goes bankrupt and completely out of the business, completely out of any business, there will never be a crash in pricing where you can buy things 80 cents on the dollar, 90 cents on the dollar, anything of that nature. Your best bet to do that is to buy a private party purchase of any kind, car, refrigerator, travel trailer, fifth wheel. That's your best time to maybe gouge somebody out of a product. Maybe you get lucky. Because I've run into it a lot. I've had ladies call me, their husbands pass away. When their husband passes away, they don't know really what to do. They're emotional. They're going through a lot of stuff. I watched what my mom went through when my dad passed away. It's absolute chaos. It's absolute nutty. And there were people that took advantage of her, especially when she sold the 2 cars that we had. They took complete advantage of her. So there's private party people that you can go take advantage of if you want to buy something 10, 20 cents on the dollar. It's not going to happen at the retail level of any industry. And this is the reason why, guys. This is the reason why. I want you to pay attention to this. This is an education for you. This has nothing to do with me being a salesperson. Oh, you're just a salesperson. Oh, you can't see me. You can't see me. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with lending. So if you're a bank or a credit union and you're going to finance anything from a refrigerator to a washing machine to a car to a house, etc., 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 if a product truly loses 70% of its value new, you're going to completely stop lending on that product. Because now all the loans that you have out for that product or that type of product, watch this, now has devalued so bad that people are just going to give up their unit just like they did their trucks. So if you were looking for an adjustment down, it already happened in 2023 and 24. It already happened. I've done videos on it. I did so many videos about how the market is going to come down in 23 and 24, and it was the best time to buy. And a lot of you said, nope, you're wrong. Well, now we're back on the incline. And what's going to happen, guys, is the RV manufacturers are going to take a 2 to 3 week break during Christmas, which is unheard of in the industry. Usually it's a week, 9 days. To take 3, in some cases, there's manufacturers that are going to take 5 weeks off. Okay? It's to control the supply so that way they don't overbuild it for 2026, which will keep prices stable. It's not going to raise them a whole hell of a lot. It's going to be the normal RV inflation of 1 to 3% like it is every year from here on out. It's not going down. So if you can't afford a new truck camper, don't complain in the comments that they're too expensive. Buy something used. There's a lot of used inventory still out there. There's a lot of private party and dealership product out there. Now, half of it's jacked up and overpriced, but if you search hard enough, you got somebody that's reasonably priced at the dealership level and at the private party level. But they're never going to crash the industry. Now, here's the difference, and I want you to pay attention to this. Let's say that, and this will never happen, okay? That's why I'm going to use it as a hypothetical, okay? Let's just say, as an example, that the Grand Design frame flex, frame failure, class action lawsuit bankrupts and closes down Winnebago. Now, that's not going to happen, but let's say it did. That is when you can buy pennies on the dollar because the lenders would pretty much stop lending on Winnebago product at that point. They go, okay, they're in bankruptcy, just like they did with just like they did with Little Guy RV. You can go get personal loans, but pretty much all the lenders would wash their hands of that product until it became used and go, well, we'll lend on it, but we're 50% down. The same thing happened to 08, 9, and 10. When companies went bankrupt and went out of business, like Monaco and Fleetwood, which got rebought and repurposed and everything, but I'm talking about the old school Safari, all these companies, when they went out of business in 08, 09, okay, that is when things were 50, 60, 70 cents on the dollar or 40 cents on the dollar, but banks weren't lending on them. Even if you had outstanding credit. So lenders control the industry. Lenders control the world. They control Amazon, they control Tesla, they control AI, they control everything because they have the money. Okay, can you guys hear me? If you guys can hear me, let me know in the comments. If you can't hear me, I'll restart. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. All right. So, I'll cut that out a little bit later. Sorry. All right, now, so the reality that we all have to face is the lenders control everything, right? So, the reason why you cannot go out and buy a travel trailer in 2025, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and buy it for 30 cents on the dollar, if you do that, then the lending institutions would no longer be in the RV industry. And if they're no longer in the RV industry, guess what happens? There's no industry. There's no community. Because 0.0015% of the entire population of the United States of America and Canada can afford to buy a motorhome or a fifth wheel in pure, actual, real cash. Not a bank loan from your 401k, not a personal loan so you could say you paid cash, so you could smell your title even though you took out a high interest personal loan, okay? You could basically sell less than 1,000 units a year, and there's no industry without it. You need the lending institutions to keep the community and keep the RVs that are out there valuable. Now, if you don't care about your fellow man, you don't care about people, fine. Keep screaming and yelling for a crash. You want people to be homeless and out on the streets and have no job? You want 30% unemployment? You want banks to stop lending money to people so that way they can live their life, because our entire society has been built on debt since 1973? You want the system to crash? Fine. You don't care about your fellow man? Cool. Keep making comments like that. We're all good. But it's just not going to happen. Now, the surprise that dealerships and manufacturers are not prepared for, and it's not good because they're not thinking ahead, is dealerships are not looking at what the Fed is doing and how it will not affect the RV industry for at least 24 months. So manufacturers are pushing to try to get inventory out of their yards on dealership lots, and dealerships are like, whoa, the Fed lowered the rate. We're going to wait till that affects our line of credit so that way that inventory becomes cheaper. So there's this sit and wait game. Winnebago Travel Trailers has over 700 units in their yard. 700 units in their yard. Nobody's taking them. Now, there's another reason why they're not taking them, and I'm going to do a video on that another day. But the reality is Winnebago dealers either want major discounts to take them now, or if you want us to take them eventually, we're going to wait until the interest rate drops because the Fed dropped their rate. And no offense to a lot of you owners of dealerships, a lot of you are morons. Sorry, guys, speak it like I see it. The interest rate on your floor plan is not going to be directly affected by the Fed rate for probably another 12 to 13 months. Because there's more calculations of how an interest rate is developed and determined besides the Fed. It's a very complicated, convoluted thing, and it's different for mortgages than it is for cars, than it is for RVs, than it is for inventory loans, than it is for company personal loans. I mean, it's a mess of how an interest rate is really determined. The Fed is just one part of that equation. So if you're sitting and waiting for interest rates to drop as a consumer or as a dealer, you're waiting a lot longer. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Okay. Now, there could be some dealers are very educated and very smart guys. Okay. I know of one personally that owns, 5 dealerships across Arizona, Idaho, and Oregon. He may act like a dumbass, but he's super intelligent and really smart. And more than likely, that dude is probably like, yeah, I got an excuse not to take any inventory for a while, and I'm going to go buy a bunch of used and just ride out this storm. Okay? Because the storm's only going to last probably another 4 or 5 months before people start spending money again. We're in this lull, this weird holiday season. I'm feeling it. I feel like this holiday season has been so weird, like the magic has been just sucked out of Christmas. It's so, I don't know how to put it outside of, it just hasn't felt the same in the last 5 years. Since really 2021, Christmas of 2021 was really the last time I felt like there was real magic in Christmas. It's like the world, it's like the world decided that happiness and peace on earth and goodwill towards men, and that's meaning all humanity. That's what men means in that set in that language. It's all of humanity. It just feels like this generation of people, this small pinky nail percentage of the people in the world, decided to suck all the glory and wonder out of the magical season of the holidays. Kwanzaa, Hanukkah. I've talked to some friends of mine that are Jewish, like real, like religious Jewish. They speak Hebrew and all kinds of stuff. I mean, they're really like all in, and they even said like Hanukkah doesn't feel the same. It just the whole magical season just went out the door. But anyway, getting out of that. The other thing that nobody's prepared for is in the spring of 2026, and I've been warning every dealer that talks to me and tells me, oh, you know, it's been really slow, it's been really bad. Yeah, it's been slow and bad because of a government shutdown, and because the holidays, and because everybody's travel plans have been screwed up to all holy hell. Everybody's trying to cash out their stocks. Everybody's trying to cash out of things. They're trying to figure out their tax situation for cashing out everything. Because people are tied in and glued down to Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. Those are the guys really making the money, because they spew all this nonsense bullshit at everybody, talking about the economy's in a recession, the economy's so great. I mean, it's such flexing. It's just been that way forever. Well, not forever. It's been that way for the last 6 years. In the last 6 years, it's gotten really bad, where the news is not the news anymore. Okay? So people are still like sitting on the couch tied in like, oh my God, this guy on TikTok says that Trump is crashing the economy. Oh my God, this guy on the couch says the economy's great. You know what? I better cash out now before the bubble bursts on AI. I mean, it's just all this nonsense that goes out into the world, right? I think that gets settled down and pushed to the side right after Valentine's Day. Because after Valentine's Day, people's taxes will start being done, and then there's going to be a situation that's absolutely going to suck. There's not going to be enough inventory for the customers. It's going to happen. Okay? I talked to, I was, you know, I was talking to somebody. I'm not going to name who they are, because I try to keep, if people don't want to know, if they don't want the RV world to know I'm talking to them, I try to keep it quiet, but I like to talk about some of the things we discuss. Like one thing I discussed with this person that's at the factory level is I think they're in a bad situation, because I think there's going to be more RVs new, and I'm not talking about every segment. I'm talking about like lightweight travel trailers, small Class C motorhomes. I'm not talking about diesel pushers. I'm not talking about like Brinkley or Riverstone or Mobile Suite stuff. That stuff's going to suffer because of the dollar amount, okay? Your Brinkleys are going to really suffer next year. Your Riverstones, your Mobile Suites, all guys at that level or higher are going to really suffer next year, because they're building too much of that inventory and there's not enough consumers that can actually buy it. So they're really in deep shit. But the travel trailer lineups, even Brinkley, is going to have a very successful year in 2026 if you can find a way for the dealers to see it and basically start taking the inventory early next year. Because I have a feeling people are going to realize the economy is not as bad as everybody's making it out to be, that it's all about attention and money. And I think once people see and get through this last of the baloney, bullcrap COVID stuff that Trump and Biden originally put us through, once we are finally over that hump, people are going to see more money in their pockets. They're not going to feel like every dime of their money is going to food and water and gasoline and diesel, because that's how it feels right now. It feels like to keep the heat on in any of your homes, especially if you live in the Midwest or you live up in the northwestern states, you're like, holy crap, how am I going to keep the heat on? We're not making enough money. Things are so expensive. But I think by the time we roll around to spring of 2026, that's all going to change. And the manufacturers can't just flip on a switch. We already saw what happened during COVID when they flipped on a switch. We were getting shipped stuff that was missing parts and missing stuff. And it's funny because when I make these predictions, people think I'm smoking crack. But every time I've made a prediction, it's come true. At the end of 2021, go back to my videos in 2021. At the end of 2021, I said by the end of summer of 2022, COVID is over as far as RVing. I said prices weren't going to come down, they were only going to go up, but that the process was going to slow down. And